First of all, listen, it's interesting about all these young guys today. They never call on us and say, hey, thanks for the kind word and telling me how great a player I am. But when they play like crap and we call them out, we don't know what we're talking about. Listen, I'm easy to find, but I get sick of these guys complaining. These young guys, they never call us and say, when a coach is wrong, I'm going to call him out. But when players are wrong, I'm going to call them out. But listen, I'm going to criticize guys that they deserve it. And listen, they can kiss my ass if they don't like it.
What's going on, YouTube?
Yeah.
Back with another video presentation. Happy Friday. Hope everybody had a great week. Hope everybody's staying safe. Welcome to episode 16 of the podcast. Have a special guest with me this evening, Sean Spencer, one half of the dynamic duo of Let's Talk Football with Janae Struther. Before we get into the video, there's a few things I need to say up front. Nick Rosario was to join me this evening, but he had some other matters outside of YouTube that come first. So he will join me tomorrow for episode 17. So there's a couple things that will change in this episode. So I'm going to hold on talking the first divisional games with the Red Sox and the Rays, the Brewers and Braves, and then I will talk about the Cardinals versus the Dodgers wild card recap. But the divisional series, I will hold off on that until tomorrow. The Astros and the White Sox is also played today as well. Mm-hmm. So the divisional series, I will hold off on that tomorrow with Nick Rosario, and I will also have him do a Chicago Bears preview. And so in the meantime, in this episode, we're going to go over Washington football team versus the Saints preview, Ravens versus the Colts preview. I'm going to recap last night. The Rams beat the Seattle Seahawks. Then we're going to give NFL score predictions, and I'm also going to recap the WNBA's playoff coverage. As of right now, the Las Vegas Aces and the Phoenix Mercury are still playing. This is a must-win game, so I'm going to recap the night from the night before. But ladies and gentlemen, I have Sean Spencer here with me. Sean,
yes, sir.
Thank you for joining me this evening. We appreciate you for joining us. Actually, hold that thought. The Phoenix Mercury looks like they're going to go to the WNBA Finals.
Wow.
So 86, 84, 4 seconds left. All right.
Still time on the clock now.
Still time on the clock for sure. But it's 4 seconds left. So, Sean, I know you wanted to but we're going to start with we're just going to give a quick shout out to Nick Rosario.
Yeah.
I'll give you the floor on that.
Yeah, no, Nick. I've been working with him for almost a year now. It was about a year ago at this time. It was early October where I met. I had met him before on online karaoke, but it was about early October when him, myself, and Delilah, along with Delilah's her fiance, Kevin, well, the four of us kind of got on like a little Zoom, and we were watching the Bears play the Vikings. And I told them, I said, look, man, Let's Talk Football is great, but I get bored the rest of the week because it's only once a week. I want to keep talking football, and they were really receptive to it, and ever since, Nick has just been the most receptive. I mean, you've seen him on Let's Talk Football, Let's Talk March Madness, the Roundtable, Washington Football Weekly. He's been on everything. Every time I ask him to do anything, he's always like, "Yo, if I got the time, let's get it going." So I got to shout you out, man. I know you're going through some things, man. So just letting you know, man. Hey, we got our prayer warriors working. The prayers are definitely lifted up. The angels are where they need to be. Don't you worry about it, and we'll get with you when you can, no doubt.
Absolutely, I second those opinions. I second those comments. I came on the Let's Talk Football group. Well, I would say about maybe 5-6 months ago.
Mm-hmm.
And I kid you not, the first show, couple of shows I was able to join was Sean, your show with Janae, and then the roundtable.
Yeah.
And that's how I got to meet Delilah and Nick. And Nick is a very very cool guy. He will give you the smoke.
Yes, sir.
When it's warranted. Again, like I said, just thoughts and prayers with him and his family right now. It's not easy. When you're tasked with a responsibility.
Yeah.
But
you know about that. You dealing with that stuff, aren't you?
Yeah. But I've learned when you sacrifice for the greater good, you're rewarded handsomely.
Absolutely.
Forward. So
absolutely.
So definitely just continue just thoughts and prayers. Go for Nick Rosario. Like I said, we'll have him on tomorrow for episode 17 of the podcast. So we're definitely thinking about you, brother. So keep your head up. Keep your head up. So we're going to transition. We're going to do something a little different in the podcast today. We're going to do Let's Talk College Football Preview Week 6.
Yes, sir.
Week 6 of college football. What's funny? Week 6 of college football, week 5 of the NFL.
Yeah.
Man, these seasons are going by fast.
Yeah, right. And in college football, the longer you get down, the more weeks you get into it, the less chances most of these teams have to win it all, man. So
yeah,
that's what I like about college football. A little more cutthroat. You lose a game, you're out. You lose 2, and you're definitely out of that national title run. So yeah,
absolutely.
Oh yeah.
So go ahead and you have the scores. What's the previews for week 6 looking like, Sean?
So I'm gonna go right ahead and I'm gonna discuss first the top 5. The top 5 teams in the nation all right now are undefeated, and for the most part, it's the first 2 and then all the rest. But I think the other 3 are gonna make a little run for it. Number 1 team on that list. Obviously, it's no mistake about it. They have the best coach in college football. The Alabama Crimson Tide, undefeated, even though most of their offense and most of their defense got drafted in April. They recharge, they retool, they reload, whatever you want to say about them, and they keep it moving. Just got done a week ago beating one of Saban's proteges, Lane Kiffin, and Ole Miss. Yep, beating 42-21. And again, that makes it. I think it's 24-0. Saban is against his
assistants.
That leads me to believe. Hey, he tells them a lot of stuff. He might tell them a whole bunch, but he don't tell them that secret sauce. He don't tell them that one thing. Right. He don't tell them that one thing that's going to get them to beat them. So right now, Alabama looks like they are head and shoulders above the rest. But they had a struggle with Florida where they won 31-29 a couple weeks back. So the SEC might give them a little trouble. And I think this next team that I'm going to talk about will give them a trouble. Right now, I see these 2 on a collision course to get to the national championship. And number 2 is Georgia. We see what they did. They knocked off the great Clemson, who actually is not having that great of a year. They've been pretty much running through teams. They beat Vandy like 62-0. This last week, they went up against Arkansas, and then Georgia was ranked 2. Arkansas was 8, ranked 8th, undefeated, coming into this game all hyped up. And we saw when you play a couple teams, and they really aren't that great, but you still get victories. We saw in the NFL with the Panthers. We saw with the Broncos. You know what I mean? One injury or going up against a team that's actually a legitimate contender will expose you. And Arkansas got exposed this week. They lost 37-0. Shout out to Anthony Handy on Let's Talk SEC Football, where he definitely broke down this game, and it was not pretty. It absolutely wasn't pretty.
I saw the highlights. It was definitely an ass whooping for sure.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely, and it was the crazy part because it was so hyped up. But even before the game, you were kind of like, all right, is Ole Miss really? Is Arkansas really for real? And you found out they're not. They're mid-level good, but they're not top tier. January 6th bowl good. So we'll see. So right now it's 1-2 against the rest, and the SEC looks like they are leading the pack. But ladies and gentlemen, there are a couple teams that I'm telling you this right now that are going to be there. They might shock some people, and that starts with Iowa. Iowa. Last week, I have to come out and say I was the one who said that Iowa, who was undefeated, was going up against me and you, Nate, Maryland, University of Maryland, and I thought, hey, Tua's brother, Talia Tagovailoa, I thought he was going to lead him. They had one of the premier wide receiver cores in college football, led by their receiver Demas, who, shout out to him, man. Me and you had talked about it before. He suffered a nasty knee injury where he was trying to kind of stop. The guy was pulling him, and then his knee kind of went the other way.
I watched the game, and I could really tell when he got hurt. That the whole team, it was it.
Done. Yep.
It was done. I think that mentally just broke Maryland. Real quick before you get into that.
Relationship with your children.
My God. If Maryland had, I feel like if Maryland had won that game, I think that would have put us in the top 20. Yes. In my opinion.
Yes.
So I mean, Maryland's got. I don't mean to interrupt you. Maryland's got more.
No, go ahead.
We got more football, but I think that would have been a statement win. We got Ohio State tomorrow. I know you're going to get into that.
Oh yeah.
So.
Oh yeah, and that's the thing about Maryland. They had been undefeated, but they're getting into the bulk of their schedule right now. We said, we'll talk about them. They're 4-1 still, but they're also going up against a 4-1 Ohio State team this week that I'll mention a little bit later. That is, well, actually, I'm going to wait for that. I'm going to wait for that one because I think it might be a little shocking on how I let that one fly out. Okay. Number 4 team on there, another member of the Big Ten Conference, Penn State, ladies and gentlemen. Penn State got a victory over Indiana, 24-0. Redemption. This was a redemption game because a year ago, if you remember, early in the season, Indiana and Penn State played in Indiana, and their quarterback Penix for Indiana had this great, run down Taylor Heineke-esque, what I mean? Diving for the pylon. They ended up calling a touchdown. It was actually reviewed, and later after the game, they found that it was not a touchdown. But Indiana was actually won that game, and then Penn State was in a tailspin for the rest of the year. They really did not do great. So this year, them being undefeated is definitely a shock to a lot of people, and a lot of people were interested in this game. They thought it could be a trap game, but Penn State, at home, and that whiteout, come on now. Penn State's the truth. Right now, they're the truth. But just like I said with Maryland, you're going to be playing the Big Ten. You're getting into the bulk of the Big Ten schedule. And the Big Ten, watch out for them. Ladies and gentlemen, watch out for them. And the last team in the top 5 is a team that I personally love. This is my team that I think is gonna shock the world. Cincinnati Bearcats of the American Conference, undefeated, just got off of a huge victory at Notre Dame. All right, in front of touchdown Jesus in South Bend. Okay, they got the W. They beat them 24-13, the biggest victory and probably the most prominent victory in school history at Cincinnati. Cincinnati's doing big things. They went undefeated last year and then got to a January 6th bowl against Georgia. Ended up losing 24-21 in that bowl game, but they're proving that they're for real. Now, one of the things that I think is in question is Cincinnati going to be UCF from a couple years ago? Are they going to be Boise State from a couple years? You know what I mean?
I don't see it right now.
You know what I mean? Then that's the thing. That's the question that a lot of people ask. We know with their schedule, their conference schedule, it's really. I mean, I think they're like average. Like their probability of winning is like 75% and above for every game they have to play. Right. In the rest of their season. So they're really, unless you see some kind of fluke or some crazy thing, they're going to be deep into the season, most likely undefeated. So
I think also too, you got to also look at too their schedule.
Yeah.
Their schedule's, I think, really, like I think it's really easy.
Yep.
They got some easy opponents.
Yeah.
Compared to some of the other teams that you've already mentioned.
Yeah. And that's why that Notre Dame game was so big for them, because it was a major Power 5 victory, and they did it away. They did it at Notre Dame at South Bend, and that was really big for them and their confidence. But like we've talked about on multiple occasions, you have a game like this, which is great, but that next game is one that you got to be careful about, because you're so amped up for winning. You went to Notre Dame, you beat them, and then the next week it's like,
we got our ass kicked.
Right. A lot of teams get that trap game, or that, where they overlook the next guy. So definitely watch out for them. Oh, wait, no, they didn't get that trap game, because they actually played last night, and they played today, and they destroyed Temple 52-3. Yeah, buddy. They got it done. But again, that speaks to exactly what we were talking about.
Yeah.
There's no real competition on that schedule. So you're going to see a lot of these kind of lopsided scores, things like that. But, hey, Cincinnati, watch out for them. They're still definitely my team, and there's somebody to look forward to. Now, look, I don't want this list to fool you. We've seen that the 1 and 2 are SEC teams. But, Nate, do you know what team is probably the best conference in college football right now? Would you like to take a guess?
Best team.
Best conference. You got the Big Ten, you got the SEC, the Pac-12, the American,
I'm gonna say the Pac-12.
Interesting. They're close, but the best is that daggone Big Ten. They have 4 teams in the top 15. You got Iowa at number 3, Penn State at number 4. You got Ohio State at, I believe, number 7, Michigan at number 9, and then you got Michigan State at number 11.
That's crazy.
Okay? Yeah, and everyone, and with all those teams, there's one loss between all of them, and that's Ohio State losing to Oregon. Yeah. So hey, right now the Big Ten is playing big time football, but again, they're getting into that conference schedule. So a lot of these teams are going to be pinballing off of each other. Right. It's going to be quite interesting.
I can't wait to see how they look for basketball.
Exactly. Ladies and gentlemen, that's coming soon. Definitely pay attention to that. So, hey, like I said before, definitely want to go into some top games. Right now, if I'm not mistaken, Stanford is playing number 22, Arizona State. The score is tied at 7 right now. This is one of the games I'm really looking at, and the reason why Stanford beat number 14 USC, and Stanford knocked off number 3 Oregon a week ago. They're 3-2. They lost to UCLA, and they lost. Who's the other one they lost to? They lost to Kansas State. You know what I mean? So it's like you can't get right. So it's like you can't gauge it. It's like, okay, you're getting these great upsets, but then you're falling.
You're falling. So you're playing up to your competition and playing down.
Exactly.
Interesting.
Exactly. So
that's going to hurt them going down the stretch.
Well, right, and that's something I think we need to keep our eyes on. Right now, they're tied 7-7 against the Arizona State, which is another team that's done that. I mean, and the Arizona State, if I'm not mistaken, they got whooped. Let me check this real quick. They got whooped by they whooped up on UCLA, a team that Stanford lost to. But then again, they have other games where it's like, they lose to a good BYU team. They beat UNLV and Colorado and Southern Utah. So it's really like, okay, how good are your victories really? They're 4-1 coming into this game. This is one of those Pac-12 games that I think is going to be a high-scoring one when it all comes down to it. But it's going to be interesting. I'm not even going to go ahead and predict the victory, because these Pac-12 games are pretty nice to watch. But I definitely, when I get off here, I'll definitely be tuning in to that one. The next game I want to talk about, we talked about it. Maryland trying to bounce back after getting just absolutely smoked by Iowa. They're playing Ohio State, and I'm going to tell you something, man. I feel naked right now. I don't have my clips at my disposal. But if I did, this might be does that make me crazy? Maryland is going to upset Ohio State this week. Mark my words, my friend.
Guaranteed.
Yes, sir. Right on time. I love it. I love it. Yes, because I'm telling you, I think it's going to happen. I think they're going to bounce back. I don't know the status. And forgive me for that. I don't know the status of Demons, their wide receiver, but I know they have a number of other guys. Jones is another guy that's a stellar guy, and they have a solid running game. As long as Tua can keep on the field and stay, and they can stay in the game. And that first game, we saw what Oregon did, which we don't know what Oregon, how good Oregon is really with them losing to Stanford. But we saw Minnesota in that first week give Ohio State everything that they can handle. You know what I mean? We've seen Ohio State struggle. So I think this game coming up with a Maryland team that it's a pretty solid team. I think they're going to give them some heat. I think they're going to pull upset. I might be wrong, but I think we're going to get that upset. I definitely do. The next game on this list, Georgia, number 2 Georgia, going up against Auburn. Honestly, I don't think anybody can really stop Georgia right now. Right now, that defense is the top defense in the country. That dude Jordan Davis, number 99, is just a monster. It could run like a 4.6 40. Are you kidding me right now?
The NFL team would love him.
Exactly. So he's definitely one of those guys that is being sought after and looked at in the draft. And I mean, his size, his ability, his pedigree, the whole nine, and he's definitely somebody to watch out for. I got UGA running away with this one. Auburn, Bo Nix. I liked him. I love his story. I think he could be a gunslinger, but I also think he makes a lot of mistakes.
Yes.
And I don't. It pains me because I really do like him and I want him to succeed, but I don't even know if he's not ready. Maybe he doesn't fit the system. Maybe he just doesn't have it. I don't know what it is.
Right now, I think it comes down. I think it starts with coaching.
Yep.
And also too, you got to give. I believe he's a sophomore.
Yeah, I think he's a sophomore. I think he started just last year.
So I mean. Yeah, I gotta give him some time. So
right, yeah, because I believe he started as a true freshman. So, but this is not one of those. This is not one of these get right games. Playing the number 2 team in the country. So, I feel for him. I think it might get ugly, but I got Georgia definitely in that one. Got to shout out the Red River rivalry, maybe the last one in the Big 12. Yeah. And OU and Texas are definitely going to be going to the SEC in the next couple of years. And you have number 6 OU playing number 21 Texas.
That should be a good game.
It should be a good game. OU is undefeated, but I don't know, Nate. Do you believe in them? Like Spencer Rattler, I mean, they're not really running the ball as well as I think they should be. That West Virginia game is the reason why I asked that question, because West Virginia, I've seen them play all year and they're not great, and they took Oklahoma to the very end. So
I think some of these powerhouse teams like Oklahoma, they played down some of the competition.
Yeah.
I think you can't turn it off, you can't turn it on against certain teams.
Right.
So I mean. I want to see how they look against Texas. I do. I want to see what they look like, because I think that they have the system, but then they just have to be aggressive and not be so conservative.
Yeah,
that's what I saw against West Virginia. And when I saw the highlights, I'm like, wow, they're too conservative for me.
Yeah,
not running the ball in this possession. To take some pressure off the passing game. So. I like Spencer Rattler. I think it comes down to you just got to, not turn it off and turn it on when you feel like it.
Exactly. And I definitely think that's a problem. And I'm with you on that. Go ahead.
I do have a question. How many points do you think there will be in the rivalry? Do you expect a shootout? Do you expect
I want to say maybe right around 50. I think a moderate shootout. I think it's going to be a slow first half, but I think it's going to be a high scoring second half. Definitely, yeah. Check that one out. Stay tuned for that one. I got a little something to say on that one too.
Okay.
Next, I want to go into my favorite conference, the ACC, where we look at UVA 3-2 going up against 3-2 Louisville. Louisville has the heir. Oh yeah, he has the heir apparent. Well, ended up being eventually the heir apparent to Lamar Jackson and Mark Cunningham. Kind of a dual threat guys. Got an arm. Has been pretty decent this year. Has struggled against top higher competition, but he's held his own. He's got it done, and they're going up against 3-2 UVA, they've shown bright spots. You know, they had to go up against North Carolina, and they got crushed. We definitely put 59 on them. Yes, sir. Let's get it. Yo, and shout out to Tar Heel Nation. We just beat Duke last week, 38-7. Yeah, buddy. Let's do that. Definitely had to shout them out. Oh, yeah. So, this game, honestly, UVA versus Louisville, I think this is going to be a high-scoring game. Both these offenses are good. I talked about Cunningham for Louisville. Quarterback of UVA is Armstrong, BJ Armstrong, I believe his name is. And he's a gunslinger, and he's a warrior, man. I saw him in a number of games where he just would not be denied. He just kept fighting, and I was really impressed by that. I was extremely, extremely impressed by that. So, yeah, I like what I'm seeing in that. So this game is something definitely I think you should look out for. Sure. We have a top 5 battle in the Big Ten. I talked to you about the Big Ten schedule starting up. Number 4 Penn State plays number 3 Iowa. That's going to be. I think this is going to be a defensive battle, like a 17-10 type deal. It's going to be back and forth, and I'm very eager to see this one. This is going to be like a natural old school Penn State, Iowa, Big Ten, running the ball, good defense, that type of thing. And this is going to be where 1 or 2 turnovers is going to make the difference in the game. Something of that nature. And my last game on this list is USC versus Utah. The reason I want to spotlight this, USC, they definitely they were ranked before. I told you they got upset a couple times. They've been struggling. They haven't been able to get back to obviously the prominence that they once had in that school and how dominant they once were. They've been really going through a down time, but they always play, especially in the Pac-12.
I agree.
The other team, exactly. But the other team they're playing is Utah. The reason I really wanted to play Utah is playing inspired football right now. Utah has dealt with not 1 but 2 deaths on their football team. They had a death, I believe, over the season with I don't know if it was a shooting death, but maybe it was an accident or something over the off season with one of their players. And then right around my birthday, Aaron Lowe, one of their running backs, I think, was at a house party and he got shot.
Oh God!
On their team. Yeah. So there was 2 deaths on their team. They are really bonding together and rallying together. These type of things have a way of kind of either the team just everybody gives up, everybody's done, or they rally around it. I've seen things like this really kind of amp guys up and have them kind of work together and rally around that type of thing. So
that's respect. I
can definitely see that type of thing happening for them. So I think this is going to be a good game because they're going to play inspired ball. And USC always, in my mind, puts on a good game in the Pac-12. So definitely, those are my games of the week. Now, get your guarantee ready because this, ladies and gentlemen, I got an upset pick. In my opinion, this is the upset pick only in ranking. One is in the 20s, one is in the top 10. I am telling you this right now. In the Red River rivalry, horns up, baby. Texas is going to get that W. Texas is going to upset OU, baby.
Guarantee.
Yeah, buddy. I believe it. I believe OU is struggling. I think Texas got a couple nice big wins recently, and I think Texas is going to show up, and they're going to show out. And one more game I wanted. This, in my opinion, is the ultimate game of the week, the game that you must check out. It's in the SEC. Number 13 Arkansas versus number 17 Ole Miss. Both of them just came off losses to top 5 teams. Arkansas just got stomped by Georgia. They didn't score a point, and then Ole Miss got stopped by Alabama where they lost by 3 touchdowns. So both these teams are on rebound weeks. Both these teams have high-powered offenses that can get it done, and both of them are going to be hungry. And look, and you don't want to get too far behind in the SEC. So this is going to be a game that I really think is going to go down to the wire. Maybe high scoring, maybe not. I think it might be high scoring, but I think this is going to go down to the wire. But yeah, that's all I got. There's many more games, obviously, but I definitely think these are the ones you want to look at. These are the teams you kind of want to focus on. But yeah, stay tuned because I'm definitely gonna. If you late me, Nate, I'm gonna definitely come on here every once in a while and hit you with these.
Yes, please do.
Oh, yeah.
I like that. It's kind of funny. I'm looking at some of this Red River rivalry should actually be pretty good. I actually have it where they're going to score at least 60 points between the two.
Ooh.
What else? You had Penn State beating Iowa.
No, I just highlighted one of those games. I personally think if you want me to guess that one, I personally think Iowa's going to win that game. I've seen Iowa play, as we saw in that game against Maryland, and Iowa just looks good. Their defense they look hungry. They got a nice, solid running game. I don't know about their quarterback as much. I know Penn State. I know Sean Clifford. I know how their offense runs. I think it's going to be close. But I think Iowa's just hungry right now. I was surprised to see them so high, and when I watched highly ranked, and when I watched that game against Maryland, and Maryland is not a number 1, number 2, number 3 team, but still Maryland was undefeated. You know what I mean? And they demolished Maryland, and it started early and it lasted all day long. So, yeah,
I agree with you. That's fair. I agree with you. Look. Good job. Shout out to Sean Spencer, man. My man is on the college football previews, man. I'm like Brian Gumble out here doing his thing.
Yes, sir.
I like it.
Yes, sir.
I like it. So definitely, ladies and gentlemen, we're definitely gonna have Sean Spencer on here checking in. I would like to do it weekly, by each week. Week 6, this is week 7. So if you want to come on the podcast again, do by weekly. That's fine with me. You get no beef from me on that. So can't wait for week 6. Gonna be some definitely good games. Maryland will win against Ohio State, and just for the record, Maryland will get an invitational to a bowl game.
Guaranteed. Oh, I love that.
So we're going to transition into the NFL, ladies and gentlemen. Sean. I'm glad you're on here because ladies and gentlemen, Sean Spencer is also the one does Washington Football Weekly on Wednesdays, and I actually had the opportunity to watch his show the other night, which was really good, by the way. Really engaging conversation. Shout out to Will Kramer. Shout out to Abs. Did a really good job. Really breaking down the last few weeks. Sean, I don't know. You and I can see it. When I look at this football team, I'm from what I saw in preseason to what I've seen now, I see two different teams. What I mean by that is you guys the whole offseason, sold me on the defense. I love Payne, Allen, Sweat, Young. I love them. However, these first 4 games defensively, and we keep saying it, they lack camaraderie. First, you said we're what you said we're 0-4, 1-3.
We could have been. We should be.
And offensively, Curtis Samuel, he came back last week. He's still not really 100%. The Heineke game-winning touchdown to McKissick, and I love it. I love the hustle. I never seen a guy. Maybe Ray, other than Ray Rice, the guy that size, just that much hustle. But that was not a smart play. You know, you guys said in the show, you never, as a quarterback, you never throw it off your back foot.
Right.
But it lets me know that the play had broken down. Atlanta knew what they were going to do.
Right.
So, just honestly, just this week, a couple things that is a must. I'm looking at it like this. Well, first and foremost, I don't know which New Orleans Saints team we're going to get.
True.
These last couple games, again, I'm still on with Jameis Winston. I think he's good. Let me back up from the MVP conversation. I still think he's still going to be a Pro Bowler.
Guaranteed.
Ooh.
I do. Only because it's not the only reason I say it's not Jameis, right? It's not Jameis. I'm looking at them offensively. You know, against the Giants, he completed 74% of his passes. He had a touchdown. Didn't have an interception.
Right.
Okay. That was his highest percentage that dated back to week 12 of 2018.
Right.
And so far he has 8 touchdowns to only 2 interceptions. So I don't know which New Orleans Saints we're going to get. Offensively, they've got to pick it up. Alvin Kamara's got to pick it up. You know, I understand Michael Thomas isn't there right now, but the other Callaway, he's stepping up. But I'm just looking at the Saints collectively. I don't know which Saint team we're going to get. Now, my biggest thing with Washington, defensively, we are allowing 30. I looked this stat up, 30.5 points a game.
Yeah.
We're 30th. And from last year, we were second overall in the league. So to give up that many points in 4 games.
Bullshit.
It just, coaching. I don't know if it's coaching, Sean. I don't know if it's the system. Jack Del Rio is a defensive minded coach. I know we had some injuries. This against Atlanta. My gosh, I don't know how many injuries. I lost count.
Relationship with your
Oh
children.
my God.
I'm sorry. I'm not trying. I'm getting a little carried away with the clips. I apologize.
Hey, if you got them, use them.
So seriously. I don't know what Washington team we're going to look for. Defensively, they gotta contain New Orleans defensively, especially in the second quarter. Like this is another stat I looked at. We're 10 points in the first 4 games we're surrendering. I guarantee they're going to utilize Taysom Hill in this game. And again, I'm also looking at Tyler Heineke. Tyler Heineke has proven that he is the starter for the team.
Yeah.
But I can't ignore some of the inconsistencies. And I think that's the wide receiver. I think offensively, he's making plays for them when it should be the other way.
Gotcha. Yeah.
The wide receiver should be making should help him be a playmaker, but he's been doing it himself.
Yeah.
So Sean, how do you feel going into this game?
So honestly, it's going to be interesting. It's going to be very interesting. I think when it comes to why we did decent or as well as we did in the preseason as opposed to season is we won the division, so our season schedule is tough. It's even straight out the gates. We had the offensive rookie of the year in Justin Herbert, so we've had a rough go, and it's just going to get worse. The Giants game, I completely agree with the assessment. Our D is most certainly struggling. These recent injuries definitely don't help. As far as Heineke, he's a baller. He gets the job done, absolutely. But at the same time, he can also be responsible for a lot of the reasons we're in certain situations we're in. We go back to the Giants game where he threw the pick to Bradbury. We go back to Atlanta where he had some issues. He had some inconsistencies that kind of put us in that position. But at the bottom line is that he is still
that guy.
He's still getting it done for us because the defense has been underachieving. And people say, some people say Jack Del Rio, some people say they're just not doing it. I've heard that, because we've all had issues with them not blitzing as much, but then I've heard that they're trying to play a lot more coverage and really rely on kind of make the front, the big four,
do all the work.
Make them be what everybody is expecting them to be. Right. And with that, I can understand and respect that. But at the end of the day, if it's not working, if they're not getting the job done, then there's a problem. But I wonder if they're doing that because maybe they're not fully trusting what's on the back end with the corners and Landon Collins and some of the injuries.
I agree.
So that's where I'm at. I mean, I'm going to that game. I honestly think it's gonna be a close one.
By the way.
Oh yeah. It's gonna be a close one. I think we're gonna get the W. To be perfectly honest with you.
Stay off Bourbon Street.
Oh yeah, right. Oh no, it's here. It's here. It's at home.
Oh, I know. I'm just kidding.
It's at home. Yeah. So yeah, it's gonna be interesting. But it's not been easy to watch. I'll let you know that.
Yeah, especially not after that. I mean, this game actually was. I was on the edge of my seat. The Buffalo one was. I turned like you. I turned it off at the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
I just also want to make this quick point. New Orleans defensively can be exposed offensively passing the ball.
All right.
They're also, they're 26th in giving up 283 yards. That's another stat I looked at.
Mm-hmm.
But they're only allowing 17 points. They're 5th. So, if you're Scott Turner, and this is what I was looking for against Buffalo, you gotta mix it up. You gotta be mixing pass and run. Don't be relying on Heineke's arm to win the game.
Very true.
Mix it up in there. You got McKissick, you got AG, you got JP, you got those guys.
Yeah.
Give them opportunities.
Yeah.
That we signed a kicker. Who had what was it?
Blew it.
Mm-hmm. Because pretty much everyone's calling for Dustin Hopkins' job.
Yep.
Me personally, Dustin Hopkins, all you gotta do is just get on the field and practice.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if it's long snap. I don't know, but I'm gonna give the Washington football team this win because I think it falls right. I think the cards are falling right for Washington. I just think it just starts with the players. I think you got to look at each other as individually and say, what are we not doing right?
Right.
Because we can point at coaching, and at the end of the day, these guys get checks.
Right.
They are professionals. We can't be, I still am sticking with my pick. They are winning the division. They are going to win this game. I'm going to go along the score lines of 27-17.
Guaranteed.
Nice. I like that score.
So, can't wait.
Me too.
But definitely have a good time.
Oh, yeah.
Just real quick, are you sitting? Where are you sitting at?
I think I'm sitting high. I think I'm sitting up high. I got the tickets before the season. So okay. I think I'm sitting up high, and I'm going with some friends from out of town. So I think I went for the more affordable, cheaper one. So, but I actually gotta hit the road, my man.
All right,
gotta hit the road. Yes, sir. Thanks for having me, my dude.
Shout out to Sean Spencer. Check him out. Let's Talk Football with Janae Struther, Roundtable. Let's Talk Fantasy Football. Washington Football Weekly. Check him out.
Let's
Sean,
get it.
I appreciate you, sir.
Yes, sir. Keep doing what you're doing, man. You're doing big things, man.
I appreciate you.
Yes, sir. All right, man. Deuces.
All right, deuces. That's right. Shout out to Sean Spencer, ladies and gentlemen. So we're going to get into the next topic, the Baltimore Ravens versus the Indianapolis Colts. That's a Monday night game, ladies and gentlemen. So a couple things I'm looking at. We, as a collective unit offensively, we put up 146 yards, 406 yards against Denver. Defense is probably one of the stingiest right now this season. Once again, we figured Lamar Jackson out. Has the league figured him out?
Bullshit.
We're actually, if you think about it, we're actually passing the ball more. It's real funny that this is another game where the national media has not talked about Lamar Jackson throwing for another 300 yards. But remember, they said Lamar Jackson had to get better as a passer.
Bullshit.
They said those things. And now I'm looking at they're going to get Rashard Bateman back. Hopefully Miles Boykins. Marquise Brown definitely stepped up last week. I'm telling you, give it time. Give it time. Duvernay, Poche, I'm telling you, give those boys opportunities to eat, and they stepped up. Now, again, we did run for 102 yards against them. We had to get those last 3 yards in the 3-second play, which, again, we don't care about your feelings, Vic Fangio. We don't care. Now, against Indianapolis, the Indianapolis is only allowing, I looked at this on my notes here, they're only allowing 114 yards. So we still should be able on the ground. We should be really good against that. Now, defensively, I have some concerns. Baltimore with the injuries. I was disappointed that we didn't make a move at Jalen Smith, but I understand the cap situation with Baltimore. I'm looking at guys, they are very athletic but weak at tackling. Odafe Owe is, my goodness, having a year. I'm glad we went with him. He is athletic. He is proving the critics wrong. Tyus Bowser is also looking good. He had 2 sacks in that game against Denver. Justin Houston had a sack. Carson Wentz, he's almost close. I think he's close to almost on 1,000 yards, but I think he's throwing like 920 yards. So, Carson Wentz is not a mobile quarterback. He's a pocket passer. But if we're aggressive with a pass rush against him, should be okay. Now, I think the biggest focus is on containing Jonathan Taylor and forcing Carson Wentz to throw the football. Because remember, the Indianapolis Colts, according to my notes, they average 112 yards per game. Now, Indianapolis is 21st on my notes here, tied for the points per game, which is tied for the NFL. So, those things come about. The Baltimore Ravens, because we won the last 4 games. We won last year against them when Phillip Rivers was starting quarterback. The final score was 24-10. We've held defensively. Don Martindale has held his opponents in 32 games twice this season, which has been really good. We've scored 14 points in 47 consecutive games. Yes, that includes with Greg Roman. That's the second longest streak behind the New England Patriots, 63 games from 2009 to 2013. That was my notes. And also to Justin Houston, just for a fun fact, played for the Indianapolis Colts. But I do want to also point out one thing about Lamar. Lamar Jackson said he's been having back problems. Didn't hear about any of that until after the Kansas City game. So it makes me wonder, is the injury serious? I don't think so. But a couple things that the NFL needs to work on. We keep emphasizing this roughing the passer, unnecessary roughness. And there was a play in that game against Denver where I can't think who it was, who literally rammed his helmet on Lamar's back. And I think that probably aggravated it. So I don't understand if you're putting emphasis on it, but you're not paying attention to it all the time. It kind of just seems like the referees just – I understand you're going to miss a call or two, but if that's a particular one that you're on the most, where you don't want quarterbacks getting hurt, then that's something that needs to be addressed, because the NFL had sent some clips to the Ravens, sent some clips to the NFL regarding that. But I'm going to go with the Baltimore Ravens. It was funny. This is one of our 4 home games, because we were home until November 11th. So November the 7th. The 7th, because we go to the 305 and play those Miami Dolphins. But final score for the Baltimore Ravens, I'm looking on the lines of 30-17.
Guaranteed.
So definitely be on the lookout for that. Transition into Thursday Night Football. Those Seattle Seahawks lost to the Los Angeles Rams. Again, I'm just looking at my focus is, again, was an interesting game. Was an interesting game. Both quarterbacks got hurt. I know Stafford had a finger injury, and Russell Wilson's going to be out for 6 to 8 weeks because of his he got his finger, and that was pretty gruesome.
Relationship with your
Oh
children.
my God.
Offensively for Los Angeles, the running game is still it's still kind of finding its own way. But the way I see Sean McVay using it, he's only using it in certain situations. I've noticed in that game, most of the running attempts came on first down. The Robert Woods was not. He was targeted 14 times. He's been frustrated not getting the ball. So he definitely targeted him last night. Definitely Cooper Kupp also had a couple receptions, and he was targeted 9 times. Deshaun Jackson. The only thing what was different, which was good about their offensive line, they only allowed 1 sack. Defensively, if you're the Rams, Aaron Wilson's going to do his thing. Terrell Lewis is going to do his thing. They made Russell Wilson and Geno Smith run out that pocket. Linebacker, Kenny Young, Troy Reader, they didn't really get the job done. They didn't get any tackles, they really didn't get no defensive stops because, again, Seattle just found ways. The only thing was when Jalen Ramsey deflected a pass to Reader, which was nice. The only thing about Los Angeles, they gave up. Jalen Ramsey got burnt by DK, but after that, he made the adjustments. He definitely got targeted like 8 times, I think it was. He rushed through 2 interceptions. There were 2 interceptions, and then his ability to switch off between defending Lockett and Metcalf, like that was crazy. Russell Wilson in that third quarter, he couldn't play on that dislocated finger. He just couldn't, because listen, when you hold a football, in basketball, baseball, no matter, when you dislocate your finger, your control on the ball is so different. Your passes become a little inaccurate. Just get the ability to throw the ball off. Even catching it is tough. So I commend him for trying to go to play. But I think Geno Smith did okay. But when he threw that game decising interception, that was it. The running game, who was it? Didn't play. I can't think of the running back, but he had a neck injury. He didn't play. They really had no. The running game was virtually non-existent. They only had 80 yards. That was disappointing. Seattle defensively, I can kind of see what Pete Carroll is doing. That cover 3 defense just doesn't work anymore. It just really doesn't. I'm disappointed in Jamal Adams. I didn't really see a lot of effort on certain plays. I don't know what that was about. But I mean, you didn't really do much with Sidney Jones and DJ Reed. You didn't give them any help. No help whatsoever. But I don't know. I just feel like the Seattle Seahawks, like it's like a ship that's just being held with paper clips and gum. I just can't see this team making the playoffs. Guaranteed. I just don't. And I gotta pick my pride off the floor. I sat there, after I said, well, did the Seattle Seahawks die? And they're just. I just don't think they have in my personal opinion, I just don't think they have. They just don't have the talent. I just think when you got the Cardinals, Rams, and the Niners healthy, it's a wrap. Russell Wilson already on this 6 to 8 weeks. The offensive line needs work. The running game was disappointing. Happy Friday, Lucinda. Good to see you. Happy Friday. Hope your day was good. Hope the work week was good for you. Good to see you. It was just disappointing. It was very disappointing. I'm going to transition into the scores for this week. So the Seahawks and the Rams started off week 5. I cannot believe we're actually in week 5. The New York Jets and the Atlanta Falcons are in the lovely city of London, England. Calvin Ridley will not be. I see he's not playing because of personal reasons. But I'm going to give the New York Jets the edge over the Dirty Birds. Guaranteed. The Detroit Lions are 0-4 against the Minnesota Vikings. I'm going to give the Detroit Lions. I'm going to say they're going to get their first win of the season. Guaranteed. We already guaranteed the Washington football team beating the Saints. The New England Patriots are beating the Houston Texans. Guaranteed. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers are beating the Miami Dolphins. Guaranteed. Aaron Rodgers and the Green Bay Packers are going to beat the Bengals. Guaranteed. Oh, we ain't got to worry about that. The Denver Broncos are going to beat the Pittsburgh Steelers. Guaranteed. Now, this actually should be an interesting game. The Eagles versus the Panthers. Sam Darnold is pretty much he's picking up the slack, and they've already made moves. They got Stephen Gilmore in a trade. I gotta go with the Carolina Panthers. Guaranteed. You ain't gotta worry about Jacksonville. It's a mess already. Tennessee Titans, baby. Guaranteed. This actually should be a good game. They say the Los Angeles Chargers versus those Cleveland Brownies. Again, now people are starting to understand what's coming from about Baker Mayfield. But again, they've given Baker Mayfield excuses. All that, no, I'm going to leave it alone. I'm going to say that the Cleveland Browns, I cannot believe I'm going to give them the edge over this Los Angeles Chargers. Cleveland Browns are going to beat the Chargers, ladies and gentlemen.
Guaranteed.
The Chicago Bears versus the Las Vegas Raiders, excuse me. The Bears got a much needed win against the Lions. Well, actually, that really wasn't much needed. That was a morale win after that atrocity against the Browns. How that happened?
How do you do that? How do you do that? What the hell is going on?
So I'm glad they actually got the win that was much needed for the Bears. But I'm going to give the Oakland Raiders this win over the Chicago Bears.
Guaranteed.
But I'm going to have Nick Rosario tomorrow's episode. I'm going to give him the Bears preview against Oakland. So we'll see. I should have held off on that guarantee, but that's okay. Trey Lance gets his first NFL start against the Arizona Cardinals that are 4-0. This is where, again, coaching matters. You need to give your young quarterback confidence. Arizona, they just, I don't know. I'm going to give it to the Arizona Cardinals. They're going to go 5-0.
Guaranteed.
The New York Giants are going to beat the Dallas Cowboys.
Guaranteed.
This is my favorite one. This will be the matchup of this will be Sunday Night Football, baby. Those Buffalo Bills go up against the Kansas City Chiefs. Josh Allen versus Patrick Mahomes. Tyreek Hill versus Stephon Diggs. Dawson Knox versus Travis Kelce. The Buffalo Bills will beat the Kansas City Chiefs.
Guaranteed.
And that's week 5. Going to be a great week, actually, good week of football. So definitely those are my predictions for this week. Definitely be in tune. That was for next week, week 6. I cannot believe we're already 5 weeks into the NFL season, ladies and gentlemen. Some quick things around the NFL. There was an email by John Gruden sent well over a decade to Demarius Smith about some things that he said was very, very about the Washington football team. Sent it to Bruce Allen. Some things that were very uncalled for. And my only thing is, I mean, basically what he was saying is he had a criticism of Demarius Smith, who has been criticized from the decisions that he's made. He definitely, after that 2011 lockdown, player safety got better, the salary got better, benefits for retiree players got better. He's definitely done a lot of things for the league. People are going to say things, and I don't condone what John Gruden said, but I don't like the fact that we're hearing this now, a decade later. I don't know why we do that, because I don't know what we gain from it. Instead of, you know what, at the end of the day, let's hold him accountable. And it was well over a decade ago. Now, I just like with Urban Meyer, we don't need to hold over. I feel like we shouldn't have to hover it over his head. Well, you wrote this email well over 10 years ago. 10 years ago, from 10 years ago to 10 years now, 10 years later. And between that time, why did the email not come out? I don't like that. I don't like that at all. That bothers me. It really does. The New York Jets signed John Franklin to a 4-year deal, $55 million. Russell Wilson, as I said, is going to be out for 6 weeks. Urban Meyer situation, pretty much is my takeaways from it. You know, we are not perfect people. You know, we all make mistakes. But the biggest thing we have to do is we have to be accountable, and we have to think about the choices that we make in life. When I talked about in the last few videos, if you have not already seen them, I've talked about the Atlanta Dream with Courtney Williams. When you're in public, especially when you're in that realm of society, and it's not just in that realm of society, but it's anybody. Let me say it that way. People have these. Okay, people are watching you like a hawk. Urban Meyer's at some club. Listen, your team's 0-4. You're at some club and you got some girl that's half your age giving you a lap, pretty much giving you a lap dance. That don't look right. What you should be doing as a head coach, you should be in the trenches. Okay, study the film. What are we not doing right? And different things like that. Because I'm telling you right now, and this is what the media likes to do. What the media is trying to do is they're trying to create a narrative saying, well, see, this is he's not ready. See, we want to see if he's going to resign and go. Well, see, college coaches, they're not ready for the big times. And that's what the league likes to do. But I think for people to call for his job like that, I understand, I get it. But at the end of the day, let's learn and let's grow from the mistakes, because, you know, I just don't understand as a society why we have to, well, once a mistake is made, it's, you know, public opinion has the final say. You know, the same thing, for example, in the NBA, back last year, I did a video on this where Montrezl Harrell had called Luka Doncic, excuse my language, that's what he said, called him a bitch-ass white boy. And you had a lot of people, for example, one of them was Ernie Johnson, called the league and said, you're going to make a statement on this and different things like that. We have to be careful when we say things and when we do things, because it can come back to bite you. Now, Urban Meyer has to live with this. And I hope that he has friends and family that will help him learn and be supportive and not go, oh, no, we don't want to mess with you. Because unfortunately, we have people like that do that. So I just feel like this is an opportunity, again, for a guy to just take accountability, hold himself accountable, learn and grow from the mistake. I like the fact that Trevor Lawrence, stepped up and said, we got his back. I feel like there are some guys in that locker room that don't want him as a coach. But this is where, if they were in a situation like that, Urban would probably be surrounded. I mean, he already kind of has, scandals behind him. So I kind of feel like this was one that just is not needed. So, let's give him opportunities to grow. Let's give him the opportunity to learn from the mistakes and keep it moving. So that's it for the NFL. I'm going to recap the wild card game, the divisional series. I will have Nick, as I said, Nick Rosario will be with me tomorrow to break that down. I had the Arizona Cardinals winning 5-2, and I got to pick my pride off the floor. They lost in the bottom of the ninth, 2-1 on 3-1, excuse me, on the Chris Taylor 2-run dagger.
Relationship with your children.
my God.
I mean, a couple things that went wrong in that. TJ McFarland gave up the walk to Cody Bellinger. Yardy Molina didn't get a good grip on the ball as he stole second. Joe Kelly struck out Tyler O'Neill. Adam Wainwright batting in the sixth. I mean, offensively, both teams, I mean, especially the Dodgers, the bullpen kept them in the game. Say what you want. As far as Adam Wainwright, he looked good in the first 2 innings, but in the third, his command definitely got away from him. He walked Cody. He was a 3-0 count to Max Scherzer. And then he gave up the single to Mookie Betts. Corey Seager was walked. That was the bases loaded. But again, then he gave up the home run to Justin Turner. I mean, he lasted 6 innings. Again, the Cardinals, they had numerous opportunities. The Dodgers, though, again, like offensively too. The Dodgers took advantage of expanding the zone, especially in the 6th. The only thing I didn't like was he pulled him out. I didn't like what Scheid, that's how he says his name, the manager. Coach Mike, I'll say that. I didn't like where he took Wainwright out the game. I don't know if it was he didn't plan, he didn't have trust in the bullpen, or he just wasn't ready. He didn't have a plan once he took Wino out the game. Luis Garcia was definitely putting. I think he kind of put Luis Garcia in a sticky situation, but Luis did okay. The Los Angeles Dodgers, you can say what you want. They're not the same team for what I think they are. They won 106 games, but Clayton Kershaw's not there. Max hurt. Max Muncy's hurt, and Cody's been very up and down. I mean, they're still a force to be reckoned with. And they're going to see the San Francisco Giants. So, like I said, we're definitely going to talk about that tomorrow with Nick Rosario. He could give his preview, but I'm hurt. I really am hurt at the St. Louis Cardinals. I mean, 17-game win streak just to get into the playoffs. You can't speak on the determination, the heart, strength of that team. You can't say much. You can't take nothing away from that St. Louis Cardinal team. So next year, I think they'll be a better team.
Guaranteed.
So I'm going to transition to basketball. Couple of things. I know the preseason's going on. LeBron James reached 100 million followers on his social media, passing. He has the most between the NFL, Major League Baseball, and the NBA itself. Congratulations, LeBron. What's going on? Why is he not playing? Oh, okay. Sorry. Kyrie Irving has been allowed to practice with the Brooklyn Nets. He hasn't participated in anything since they made it mandatory. So, I'm kind of seeing. I don't know where he's at. Again, it's his choice what he wants to do. I want to see Kyrie Irving on the basketball court. I do, but he's kind of putting the Brooklyn Nets in a sticky situation. But again, it's his choice. That team, I think, is on. They can win. I think they can do it. They can win a championship. And I feel like he's that missing piece. And again, those 41 games are key, in my opinion. Ben Simmons just went out. He's done. He's moved out of his home in Philadelphia. By all accounts, he wants out of Philadelphia. He definitely just wants out. Again, as I stated, he's a good player, but at the end of the day, you got to take a look at yourself in the mirror. I mean, we can say, yes, Joel Embiid, Doc Rivers threw him under the bus, but you don't take a shot.
Bullshit.
That makes absolutely no sense. He's a great player. I've seen what he can do, but those videos, him posting those videos, him in the gym with, my question is, what is the issue? They've done a lot for him. I mean, Brent Brown was fired. I mean, Jimmy Butler left because of the situation. And see, like they've gone out their way for you. You signed that contract. You made the choice to stay in Philadelphia, and because we've now seen your weakness, and all we're saying is learn how to shoot the ball. That's not a lot to ask for. It's just not. It really isn't. So, me personally, if I'm the Philadelphia 76ers, I'm not getting bullied by that Rich Paul's 8 group, because they like to bully their teams of training where they want to go. You're not going to bully me. We're going to trade Ben Simmons. We're going to find a trade partner that suits best for the Philadelphia 76ers. Not Rich Paul, not Ben Simmons, not LeBron James. If we have to trade him to the Memphis Grizzlies or the Miami Heat or the Utah Jazz or the Portland Trailblazers, it's what works for the Philadelphia 76ers, not Ben Simmons. This was a little shocking. The same thing with the NFL. I don't really understand what this is all about. 15 NBA players indicted for a healthcare scheme. They stole nearly $4 million and resulted in $2 million losses of the National Basketball Association's health and welfare benefits. Terrence Williams, Allen Anderson, Tony Allen, Anthony Allen, Shannon Brown, Will Bynum, Big Baby Glenn Davis, Chris Douglas Roberts, Melvin Ely, Jamario Moon, Darius Miles, Milton Palicio, Ruben Patterson, Eddie Robinson, Gregory Smith, Sebastian Telefair, Charles Winston Jr., Antoine Wright, Anthony Wooten. Why? Simply why? Like I don't really understand. What do you gain from doing that? I mean, why would you deceive those that really need health care and those benefits? What's going on, Marcus? Good to see you, bro. Yeah, I know. Good to see you. Good to see you. Yeah, I mean, Glenn Davis got in trouble a while ago with drugs. I think he actually got arrested out here in Maryland, if I'm not mistaken. Just real quick, I just want to get this tidbit. So I'm looking at next Sunday on I was looking at my calendar, pulling it up. And it's being slow. Forgive me. Next Sunday, I'm going to have Marcus Hughes, Cameron Crump, and Elliot Tinsley. We're going to do our NBA pre-picks the 17th. So be on the lookout for that. That actually will conclude season 3 of the podcast. So definitely be on the lookout for that. So that's what happened. I just want to understand why guys are doing that. I don't think that's cool. You're taking away from those that really need the benefits. They've made money. They were good NBA ball players. I just think you just taking advantage of people like that. That's low class.
Bullshit.
That I think it's real ignorant. I think it says a lot about us as a society. We got some individuals. We got to look ourselves in the mirror, because I don't know what made you even think y'all would get away with that and not think about the consequences. Same thing with Clinton Portis and them with the NFL. Why you're scheming off people like that and doing those things is beyond me.
How do you do that? How do you do that? What the hell is going on?
So, for those that were affected by that, my thoughts and prayers to y'all. That should not happen to anybody. It shouldn't happen to anyone, period. Nobody deserves that. There are people that work their asses off for years, and to just have that ciphered off, people like that ciphered off. Daryl, what's going on? What's going on, bro? Good to see you, sir. Good to see you. Good to see you. Good video about check Daryl Fisher video reviews out. Good review on food. My favorite one so far. He just did one recently. It was in Shreveport. I can't think of the name of the restaurant, but it was really good. It actually looked really good. Check him out if you hadn't already. WNBA. I can't tell you if you listen. If you don't like basketball, if you have not watched these playoffs games, then you don't like basketball. That's just something's wrong with you. I have to pick my pride off the floor again, because the Chicago Sky beat the Connecticut Sun.
Relationship with your
Oh
children.
my God.
I don't know what to feel. I really don't. So actually, I'm in the Las Vegas Aces. Phoenix Mercury won tonight. So I'm going to recap those two games. But what you see, what happened was, look, when you have the most improved player, MVP, and you have your backcourt that made all defensive team and coach of the year, and you've lost one game, you're the number one seed. You lost to a team that was 500 on the year, to be exact, with Candace Parker's injuries. Just for the record, I don't know where this narrative came out and saying that she's not the same player, she needs to retire. I don't know where that narrative came from. My biggest criticism of the Chicago Sky, that on paper, they arguably have the best team in the Eastern Conference.
Guaranteed.
And I think that to be exactly 500, ladies and gentlemen, that's mediocre. They are better than what their record says. Now, I'm not taking a shot at Chicago. I'm not doing that. Understand that. Now, what went right and what did not go right for Connecticut? Connecticut offensively has to be more effective. Like last night, oh my gosh, Chicago at the right time, they can get hot. I told you that transition offense is key to win that series, especially in Game 4. Their biggest lead of the game was in the third quarter. They had 18. They led by 18. Connecticut defensively was not making the necessary adjustments. They just were not. Like, again, when you're for not looking at the shot clock, not communicating, and turning the ball over, those little mistakes hurt you. 3-point range from the three. Chicago, 61.5%. Courtney Vandersloot, 5 of 6. Kalia Copper, 18. 13 of them was in the first half. Candace Parker had 17. Azurá Stevens, she almost had a double-double. She had 11.7 rebounds. Now I think actually all of them, Allie Quigley was the only one who didn't get double digits. Now, Jonquel Jones, she stepped up, but especially in the second half, they had no answers. No answers whatsoever. Now, Connecticut's had numerous opportunities to win this series. Now, Brianne January did not play because of what happened on that breakaway layup at the end of Game 3. Jonquel Jones stepped up in Game 4. Disappointing that she was contained in Game 2 to 4 points, and then Game 3 barely had a double-double. Again, she was not effective. DeWanna Bonner, I think, led with, was it 25? Brianna Jones, I feel like should have got some more minutes than what she got. Alyssa Thomas, they were not active. They were not getting touches. They were not utilized, I think, the way they should have. Natisha Henderman, she did her thing coming off the bench. Just Brianna Jones, 6 points. I'm just disappointed because this is another team other than Washington. I said, okay, well, on paper, they started off the year, especially when Jonquel Jones came back, and all of a sudden, now it's like, what happened? It just makes no sense. Arguably, I think they, on paper, they killed this narrative that you can't win, with length. You can't win. And I think that's BS. I think you can win with size. And that's what Connecticut did all season. I think regular season-wise, they did really good. I'm sorry, Jonquel Jones had 25 points. And DeWanna Bonner had 4. There's no productivity. Just stagnant offense, inconsistency. There's the inability to get stretching at scoring in the game. Stephanie Jones didn't play. Just disappointing. But this definitely stings if you're Connecticut. You got to take a look back at what you did, what went right and what didn't go right. I think the biggest thing is, obviously, offensively, they got to be more effective. Now, Candace Parker is an impact player. She's a champion. She's an MVP. Nothing with her going home, they were an instant title contender. That's a fact. Not taking anything away from Candace Parker and then the Chicago Sky. But Connecticut, when you have the MVP, most improved player, on paper, they should have won this series. They should have won. It didn't happen. So I don't know what to really feel. I don't know why my computer just randomly froze. Hold on. So let me back on. What's it doing? Hold on, ladies and gentlemen. My computer is frozen. There we go. So, congratulations to the Chicago Sky as they advance to the WNBA Finals. As far as Connecticut, they just got to go into the offseason. I think a lot of it's just simple fixes. I do. But to now have egg on my face twice, the Mystics don't make the playoffs at all, and then Chicago, they lose to Chicago.
Bullshit.
So I'm gonna stop talking about the Connecticut Sun before I put my head through a wall. No, I'm just kidding. I would never do that, y'all. I would never do that. I'm going to recap 2 games: the Las Vegas Aces and the Phoenix Mercury. Man, that was actually an interesting Game 5. The Phoenix Mercury will advance to the WNBA Finals. Congratulations. Let me change the banner. Update. Let's fix this. One thing I noticed in Game 4 was that Bill Laimbeer, and I said that was the key. He had to make the adjustments. That's something I'm glad he did, particularly in the third quarter. You know, they went on a 24-2 run. I look at them on paper. Las Vegas is a top 4 team. Offensively, we got Raquana Williams, Chelsea Gray, Kelsey Plum, and Kia Stokes, and Asia Wilson, Liz Cambage. They got scores. They just have to just be aggressive. I just think it just was just minor adjustments. When I look at particularly in that third quarter, Raquana Williams had 3 threes. Chelsea Gray had 20 points coming off the bench. They had 59 points as a combined, all 3, Raquana Williams, Gray, and Kelsey. Asia Wilson, say what you want, she's limited. She had a double-double in that game. Now, I told you the key for Phoenix to winning the series was their guard play. Skylar Diggins-Smith, Diana Taurasi, Kia Nurse, thoughts and prayers. She tore her ACL. Get well. Can't wait to see you next season on the court. And also, too, Sophie Cunningham didn't play in tonight's game either. And Shea Petty. Okay? Now, how she got hurt, Kia Nurse. She got blocked. She got hurt after she got blocked by Asia Wilson. She tried, it was a breakaway layup, and Asia blocked it. And then she kind of came down on the knee wrong. So, I feel like they made the right adjustments in that game. Now, tonight, if you're Las Vegas, you got to keep your head up. I mean, I still think on paper they're still an elite team. Just Phoenix, the player, the Diana Taurasi, Brittany Griner, Skylar Diggins-Smith. I'm telling you that's the key. Particularly in the third quarter, I like the chirpiness that happened. Some things between her and Jackie Young. They trash talk, and then they won a 12-0 run, and they started in the fourth quarter. Brittany Griner had almost a double-double, 28 points, 9 rebounds. Diana Taurasi had 24. Again, Kia Nurse is out. Sophie Cunningham can't play. It's just it comes down to just shooting the ball, and the guard. It starts with the guards. They have to be aggressive. If Skylar Diggins and Diana Taurasi go off, good things will happen. Now they got Bria Hartley. I think Sophie will be back in the season, in the finals for sure. But if you're Las Vegas, I feel like Asia Wilson's legacy's already been cemented. Excuse me. I don't know where that narrative came from that she had to win this series. her play did the talking last year, especially in the bubble. I'm on the record. I said it, and I'll continue to say it. If De'Erica Hamby doesn't get hurt, the Seattle Storm do not win the finals. Guaranteed. They don't. Now, there are some things that you do have to ask yourself if you are Las Vegas. I think Liz Cambage is a free agent. There's so many things that have to be, I think it starts with Bill Laimbeer. I think the adjustments he made to me were a bit too late. Especially next year, you got Angela Coultry. I didn't get it. I didn't get a chance to see it, but it's tough when they got this far, they worked their asses off, and they'll be back there. They will be back there. But this was Phoenix's time, and I think again the heart and determination, just the dedication that they put in. At first, Phoenix was not looking like Phoenix in the beginning, but congratulations to the Phoenix Mercury as they face the Chicago Sky in the WNBA Finals. That should be interesting. Candace Parker versus Diana Taurasi, Brittany Griner, and Skylar Jenkins-Smith. That should be an interesting matchup. So I will definitely give a preview on that tomorrow. I know Nick Rosario is going to rave about them as well.
Relationship with your children.
my God.
So, congratulations to both teams. It's going to be a great finals matchup. I can't wait. This whole playoff so far has been really great. I mean, if you guys have not got a chance to see it, again, like I said, you got to watch a game. You got to watch a game. I'm telling you. Closing arguments on the Atlanta Dream. So, shout out to Rashard Milligan. I had him on last night in the interview. We're talking about the Atlanta Dream. And I've talked about the Atlanta Dream quite a bit in going on 4 or 5 episodes of the podcast. And if you're Atlanta, the biggest thing is that again, as I said with Urban Meyer and John Gruden, you got to take accountability, and there's growth from this. We can all learn and grow from it. The situation. If you're not aware, it's been out on Twitter. Courtney Williams had posted a video of her getting in a fight along with Crystal Bradford and her Courtney Williams' wife as well, getting in a fight outside a club in Atlanta during the season. And the Atlanta Dream were aware of the video. Renee Montgomery, who's a part owner, was aware of the video. Said they looked at 10, 15 seconds of it and took their side, seeing it was in self-defense. But when we look at it, it's like a minute and like 50, like a minute and 40 something seconds. We see more than that. To sweep that under the rug and not and do nothing the whole season. Meanwhile, Kennedy Carter, who was your 5th overall pick, your leading scorer last year, suspended for detrimental conduct to the team.
Bullshit.
Which happens in every locker room. We don't know what happened in that locker room because it happens in every locker room. What was it? Nikolai Mirotic and Bobby Portis got into it in practice. Nikolai Mirotic wasn't suspended. It happens. Things like that are going to happen. Tensions are going to boil over in a locker room. But we're told what happens in a locker room, it stays in a locker room. Now, how you let it slide for this long, it lets me know a couple things. One, that you didn't think the video would get out. Or number two, would you didn't like, because when you make a YouTube video of it as a story time to make light of the situation, and then practically kind of throw your teammate under the bus. At the time, Kalani Brown was waived by Atlanta. But in that video, she was a peacemaker. That affects money. That makes the team look bad. And that makes you look bad. I think that the biggest thing looking at this is, at the end of the day, there just has to be accountability. Plain and simple. Plain and simple. It's not hard. There's no right or wrong answer. There's no sweeping under the rug, because at the end of the day, what do you gain from it? Because now you got a couple questions you got to ask yourself for the Atlanta Dream. How are you going to address the Kennedy Carter situation? How are you going to move forward as an organization? Because now when you have an owner that pretty much comes out and says, well, we hope that the same energy you're giving this situation, we hope you give it back to us when we do good. The Atlanta Dream haven't done anything good the last few seasons. They're not the same team. When you have 4 players, as of next year, they're on the contract. Cheyenne Parker, Tiana Hawkins, Ari McDonald, Kennedy Carter. That's it. And you have a lottery pick. You've got a multitude of free agents. Monique Billings is an example. Elizabeth Williams is an example. It's a mess. It's truly a mess. But again, my point is, at the end of the day, this is a learning situation for all, where we can learn and grow from our mistakes. Everyone's got to hold those accountable. Plain and simple. Because at the end of the day, the way this situation was handled and how the Kennedy Carter situation in Atlanta has been handled, very disappointing. Very dysfunctional. Lack of leadership. Lack of accountability, as I stated already. At the end of the day, as a franchise, you've made the bed. You've made this bed, now you have to lay in it. That's a fact. And you got, and people can say what they want. You know how, well, I think you're bashing them. You need to let, it is what it is. Defense is one thing. I'm all about defending yourself. But in that video, again, like I said, people watch. People watch what you do in public. You got to move differently. You got to be smarter. See, Atlanta Dream will move on from this, and they will grow from it. I appreciate that Renee Montgomery talked about on the ESPN. I appreciate that. But to let this slip for this period of time, that ain't cool. And then the agent that represents the both of them, first of all, I didn't like the way he presented himself on camera to Christina Williams. Shout out to Christina Williams. He pretty much, the body language says a lot, ladies and gentlemen. He looked completely like, I don't know, like I'm just hearing about the situation. You knew about this as an owner. And I mean, you knew this about as an agent, and you kind of sat there and said one thing. You know, you're saying that, you know, they have a right to defend themselves, which they do. But at the end of the day, as an agent, you have to let them know, hey, listen, you gotta move smarter. Rosario said in the video, he's a former ball player himself. He should know those things. He should be passing that kind of words of wisdom on to Courtney and Crystal. Courtney Williams will be on another NBA WNBA team. Crystal Bradford, I like to see her on there. I'm kind of more. I feel for her because her money may be affected because she's working. She's working her ass off. She's shown that she did have a good little season this year in Atlanta, but closing arguments of the Atlanta Dream right there. You know, they have to move forward. They have to take accountability and learn from mistakes as an organization. They need a GM. They need a head coach. A couple coaches come to mind. Tosh Franklin is a good coach for them. Brian Agler would be a good choice. Fred Williams would be a good coach. Michael Cooper, another coach that comes to mind. But it starts with those things. And that's where the Atlanta Dream have to go. But like me personally, I said, if I was a free agent and they told me we're interested in signing you, I'm not interested.
Guaranteed.
So with that being said, that's going to conclude the video. Episode 17 will come out tomorrow. Thank you for those that joined me this evening. Shout out to Sean Spencer, Nick Rosario, thoughts and prayers for you. Again, I appreciate the comments. Shout out to Marcus, shout out to Daryl Fisher, shout out to Lucinda, shout out to y'all for joining me. I hope you guys have a great weekend. Stay safe. And I will see y'all tomorrow. Y'all have a good night. Stay up.
Get down! Get down!
First of all, listen, it's interesting about all these young guys today. They never call on us and say, hey, thanks for the kind word and telling me how great a player I am. But when they play like crap and we call them out, we don't know what we're talking about. Listen, I'm easy to find, but I get sick of these guys complaining. These young guys, they never call us and say, when a coach is wrong, I'm going to call him out. But when players are wrong, I'm going to call them out. But listen, I'm going to criticize guys that they deserve it. And listen, they can kiss my ass if they don't like it.